Real talk. Real talk. Real talk. Real talk with Tim McGee. Welcome to another episode of Real Talk with Tim McGee. Today we are going to be talking about the United States military slash Space Force, the Galactic Federation that the Prime Minister, the ex-Prime Minister and General of Israel revealed that America knows UFOs exist, that Trump knows UFOs exist, and I'll play that video later, and that they have been united with a universal space federation. And if you don't know what that means, it's basically a coalition of different alien countries and planets and so forth, different armies in basic space, because there is nobody else in space that has a space military besides Israel. And you got to watch Israel and America because they work side by side, so they usually share the same information. It's ironic that the only two places that I know that have a space military is Israel and America. And this scientist says that they have been working side by side with aliens, helping them engineer spaceships. That's why we grounded NASA and we're not taking astronauts in space anymore. You got Elon Musk and so many other private companies that are designed to making spaceships. And that's basically what they are. You know, you call them space shuttle, but they're not using that anymore. They're using other type of capabilities. But the U.S. Space Force, first of all, let's talk about what the military does. What does the military do? Military protect, they fight, they regulate. And the fact that we already have an Air Force, we already have NASA, now we're taking soldiers, and you know what comes along with soldiers, all type of weapons and equipment to help them do what they're trying to do. And the fact that they are outside of space, they're not driving jets or all the stuff that the U.S. Air Force. As a matter of fact, they're the sixth branch of the government. The U.S. Space Force was founded in 2018. That's when they announced it. Let's say that. Because anytime the government revealed they have something or they're doing something, you better believe before they disclose it to the public, they've had it for a long time. And people have been saying that we had found the UFO at Roswell. Well, now we know all that is true, as well as many other spacecraft that's been found, because there's been many whistleblowers that works for these places that have revealed it. Even Snowden, that works for the NSA, he revealed all this. You know, so you hear a lot of credible people saying the same thing, that UFOs exist and we're working with them. And now that we done came out with a space military, how the fuck we go from that to driving planes and jets to now we're out in space? I remember in 2004, the first time I started noticing UFOs. I was I was here in Seattle, then I moved down south. I saw it first in Seattle, just one morning, just laying in my bed, and I was looking up at the sky, and I thought I was looking at a star, you know, but the star looked big, you know, so, and then next you know, it started moving. So I'm tripping, and it's like about probably 4 o'clock in the morning, so ain't nobody woke, and I'm laying in bed, and I'm looking at this right up at my window. My bed's right by the window. I'm looking right up at the window, and I just see it looks like a star, but it was moving, and stars don't move, and it only looked like a star because the light was going on and off, on and off. And then I thought it was a satellite, you know, but right when I thought that, the UFO stopped and then went in a different location. Now, to some of y'all that don't know about satellites, you may not know what that means. Satellites don't change direction. Satellites are controlled by the orbit of the planet, so that's why they shoot the satellite in that little belt, and the belt just takes all of them around the same way. That's how, you know, they're not crashing into each other, because they're going in a circle and they're in sync according to the rotation of the planet. They're not known for being able to be controlled by man. They're just up there and they don't control the direction and they don't do all that. So that was the first thing that let me know. And then when I moved down south, once again, I started seeing them, and I started watching it and seeing this more frequently. If you go outside at nighttime, where it's good lighting, and just look up in the sky, you know, it usually don't take me long. If I go out there within 10, 20 minutes, depending on the lighting, you will see them. And sometimes you see multiple of them just out there going in different directions, which you know is not satellite, because like I said, satellite works in unison, so they don't hit each other. These things are going different ways. They stop, the lights come on and off. Sometimes they take off and they look like a shooting star. And we know stars don't shoot, but yet how many of us have seen the shooting stars? And yet scientists tell you stars don't shoot, but yet we just call it that. What actually is that? Well, we should know, because they give us all type of clues in the movies, from Stargate to Star Trek to Star Wars. Whenever those spaceships take off in warp speed, what does it look like? A long trail that disappears of light, which we call shooting stars, which lets us know that this technology has been out there all around us forever. Our government just been lying to us, because there's a bigger purpose into what's going on out of space, and there's a bigger purpose to us creating a space military, because we ain't no other army got, ain't no other country down here got a space military. Ain't like we out there fighting in space, or are we? And I know we are, but that's another video. I talk about that later. But this video, the government revealing that we have a space military, kind of basically just helps support what I've already been talking about for years, is that our government has been in space fighting a secret war. I've said that many times on my Facebook page, and many people don't want to believe that, you know. But of course, everything the government do, they keep it from, especially when they're dealing with spaceship, because it's top secret. They want to have a heads up on all the other countries, so they don't want to disclose. And if they tell you that, they have to tell you much more than what they know, and they're not ready for that. But thanks to the prime minister and so many other people before that already told us this, but you got the highest official yet that worked for a credible government revealing, just talking candidly on the video, and I'm gonna show you all these videos later on, but he's candidly admitting that we have spaceships, there's aliens, the government know it, Trump know it, and he's been deciding whether he's going to disclose it. And in the video, the man says that the other governments and aliens have asked the governments around the world not to reveal it to us, because they want to wait to a stage where man is more mature and understand technology and the travel, space travel, so they won't be confused and have panic and think it's something like out of sci-fi, you know. But it is something out of sci-fi, you know. It ain't like that everybody up in space look like us, and the government knows that, because they have several whistleblowers that have described some of the aliens that we have contacted and some of the people that we're working with. That's why we went from riding horses 100 years ago, and now we in motherfucking spaceships and jets and all type of other shit that can go into space. So that's important, and that's part of the reason when you know that, then if you believe that, then you can understand why Trump and his supporters are so radical, why they don't want to lose the White House, why he was expecting to win another 4 years, because he knows there are military operations out there in space, man. You ain't got to quote me on. All you got to do is go on YouTube and Google and see all the credible people telling you that we know warp speed, we know time travel, we got stargates, we got all the technology that the aliens got, you know. And it makes sense, because if you believe in the scripture like I do, then you got to kind of connect that to what God says is about aliens and space travel and in the last days and what's going to happen. He talks about that all the armies of the earth was going to come to the edge of the world and do battle with the Son of God. Well, we do that in today's time. What would that look like? That would look like us starting a space military. Israel got a space military, and now Russia and them got people out in space. China got people out in space, and they have a federal coalition with other nations around the universe. So if you put 2 and 2 together, and you look at the fact that this world is the foundation, where the Bible says that the destroyers of our people comes from this planet, and who is the most powerful person on this planet? America. Who has all the technology and all the power? America. So they know about this. So when God's talking about hostile people come from this planet, you better be, America is going to be leading that race. And now we have people saying that they're already part of a collected coalition of nations that are outside as a space military. And you don't go send a military unless you're going to fight or protect something. And you wouldn't send nothing out there unless you know there's proof out there. And by now, we done seen the thousands of videos on YouTube and hundreds of videos that local news medias and CNN, everybody, they shown these things. The military has shown it, all type of things. NASA have revealed it. So it's all about whether you want to believe it or not. But it's not hard to believe, being what we know about space and all the things that are out there. When you start seeing things that travel different from what you're used to seeing in space, then you start to realize, okay, this is intelligent technology. I mean, UFO sightings in the last 5 years had increased to thousands of UFO sightings and reportings every year. So I think people need to pay attention to the Space Force and what's going on. And I'm going to do a video later on this weekend talking about how the Space Force, the Capitol riots, black people 400 years, and Trump signing that into law, celebrating that. We're going to talk about how all of that is connected. The space military, 400 years of black people, COVA, all these things are connected. Trump did not want to lose the White House, and that's why at all costs he was ready to end the whole civilization of America as we know it, because he knows that our government is up there part of a bigger fight with other kingdoms, but he don't want to tell y'all. And white people know this because white people know that black people are the Israelites. And even though black people don't pay attention, white people do. That's why Trump celebrated 400 years of black people's existence in America from 1618 to 1619. He signed 400 years celebrating that. And then not too long after that, he started talking about the Space Force. All this stuff is connected, and it's in Trump's mind, which is why he didn't want to leave the White House, because he wants to be in the White House when this shit go down. But anyways, I'm going to show y'all a couple of videos, and I just want y'all to check the videos out. But that's it for now, and tune into my next video. So like, support, and subscribe so I can continue to get these contents out to you. This is a Real Talk with Tim McGee.
Aliens exist, and President Trump knows about it. That's according to Israel's former space security chief. In an interview with an Israeli newspaper, he said the aliens have been waiting until today for humanity to develop and reach a stage where we will understand in general what space and spaceships are. NBC News chief global correspondent Bill Neely explains this one.
Hi, Alison. Well, this is quite a story, and it comes from the man who headed Israel's space security program for nearly 30 years. Chaim Eshed is making the extraordinary claim that the United States and Israel have been in contact with a group of aliens for years. Not immigrants, but extraterrestrials. He has called them the Galactic Federation of Aliens, and he says President Trump is aware of the existence of these aliens and had been on the verge of revealing their secrets, he claims, but was asked not to do so by the Federation in order to prevent what he calls mass hysteria. Well, the retired general says the US and Israel have kept it from the public because, quotes, humanity isn't ready and the aliens don't want to reveal themselves until humanity can evolve, he says, and understand what space really is. Well, the good news is that he claims an agreement has been reached between the US government and the aliens, a contract to do experiments here. There's also, he says, a secret underground base on Mars where there are American and alien representatives. Now, this former head of a branch of Israel's defense ministry is 87. He was very well respected, at least until now. And he said all this in an interview with an Israeli newspaper in Hebrew, but it's really taken off after parts of it were published in English by the Jerusalem Post today. He says he's come forward now in the hope that his news will be accepted as true. He notes that if he'd made these claims 5 years ago, he would have been hospitalized, but now he says, I've got nothing to lose.
The U.S. Navy has finally acknowledged that videos appearing to show UFOs flying through the air are real. They don't call them UFOs. They call them unidentified aerial phenomena. The several videos they're talking about were recorded years ago by fighter pilots. Then in 2017, they were made public by the New York Times. More now from our Randy Kay.
Look at that thing. It's rotating.
Images of that rotating thing captured by U.S. Navy aircraft. Sensors locking in on the target. Commander David Fravor saw it firsthand during a training mission, describing it like a 40-foot-long tic-tac, maneuvering rapidly and changing direction.
As we both looked out the right side of our airplane, we saw a disturbance in the water and a white object, oblong, pointing north.
The object was first sighted in 2004, then similar objects again in 2015. Footage of the sightings, declassified by the military, weren't made public until December 2017 by the New York Times and a group that researches UFOs.
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude.
This was extremely abrupt, like a ping pong ball bouncing off a wall. The ability to hover over the water and then start a vertical climb from basically zero up towards about 12,000 feet, and then accelerate in less than 2 seconds and disappear is something I had never seen in my life.
The Navy says it still doesn't.
A great group of other executives are here from the top companies, and it's patriots like you that are the reason why America was first in flight, first to the moon, and why America will always be first in space. You know, before I got here, it wasn't looking so good. Before we came in, I will tell you, they didn't have such big plans for space. Now they have plans, and it's great, not only in terms of jobs and everything else, it's great for the psyche of our country. This morning it came out that small business is the most optimistic it's ever been in the history of our country. That's pretty good. Now, I don't know if they go back to 1776. I don't know if they go back to, you know,
Is this a UFO leaving the Earth, making the jump to hyperspace? These are real images from the International Space Station's live feed. They show a spherical object leaving the vicinity of the Earth and traveling upwards. As the object disappears, a beam of light shoots out. The footage appeared on the ISS live feed on April 17th, and the sighting was picked up by UFO hunter Scott Waring, who writes for the website UFO Sightings Daily. Some guess the UFO may actually be the moon, but Scott disagrees. He also guesses the beam of light that appears must be hundreds of miles wide, due to its size in relation to the Earth. Could the beam of light be the exhaust of a flying saucer traveling at light speed, or perhaps a weapon shot from the Earth the ship was trying to avoid? This isn't the first time a UFO has been captured on this exact same camera on the ISS. Here is another mysterious object from April 5th. This time, NASA shut off the feed shortly after the object appeared. So, what do you think? Is this a real UFO, or just some kind of anomaly caused by swamp gas? Leave your comments below and don't forget to subscribe.